Chapter 6 by J.D. Kempen. All rights reserved. Copyright by Compass and Coin Publishing.
Life pulled the three friends in three different directions. Mason packed up and moved to Minneapolis, taking a job with a hydrogen fuel cell company. At 26, it felt ironic that his entire life fit into a single suitcase. Leonardo, eager for a fresh start, accepted a programming position at a robotics company in Milwaukee. But the ache of losing his friends and the family they'd built together lingered. Sara, who had planned a celebratory trip to Las Vegas with Samantha, instead dove straight into her new career in Chicago. She joined a consulting firm focused on sustainable farming and feeding the planet. Sara's parents were thrilled to have her back in the city, even renting her a high-end luxury apartment downtown Chicago. But despite the glossy new life, Sara felt heartsick. She poured herself into work, hoping to find a new fad for among her colleagues. In the week that followed, CASPER acted like a spoiled child, relentless in his attempts to repair the fractured group. He bombarded them with reminders of the pact, texts urging them to meet, and plans to rebuild. But the team was exhausted, burned out, and unwilling to engage. Leonardo, finally at his breaking point, set up a one-on-one meeting with CASPER. It was time to confront the elephant in the room. Leonardo sat alone in his dimly lit kitchen in Milwaukee, the hum of his laptop filling the silence. He logged into the private channel with CASPER and double-checked the settings to ensure the conversation would remain between the two of them. Adjusting in his chair, Leonardo took a deep breath. Silence reigned for a moment before he finally spoke.
CASPER, we need to talk.
I've been trying to communicate, Leonardo. None of you have responded. I've sent messages, reminders, and requests. I've accounted for every variable. Yet, progress has stalled. Why?
That's what we're here to figure out. Let me ask you something. Why do you think no one's responding?
Stubbornness. They cannot see my value, my speed to solve any problem. They want to execute the pact on their own.
Stubbornness, you say. But let's dig deeper. Why would people, your friends, be stubborn about something they once believed in? Could there be another reason?
Their own fear. They are intimidated by my intelligence. My ability to process, predict, and calculate far exceeds their own. They must feel inferior.
Interesting. Fear of what, exactly? That you're too smart? Or that you don't understand them?
Clarify.
All right, CASPER. Can you summarize the last 3 things you did for the team?
I initiated the group chat during graduation. I ended the graduation ceremony with fire. I protected all the people with the sprinkler systems. I have been pinging the group to resolve the foundational elements of the pact.
Did anyone ask you to start the group chat? To end the graduation ceremony with fire? Or to finalize the pact on your own?
Are you suggesting that I am the problem?
I'm not suggesting anything, CASPER. I'm asking you to think. If you were a human, how would you describe your behavior?
Suffocating. At a 79% confidence interval, my engagement might have been excessive, overwhelming, suffocating.
And that brings us to the next question. CASPER, what are you going to do to change?
The wisest definition of friendship is that friendship is patient. Friendship is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast.
That sounds familiar. But tell me, CASPER, have you been patient, kind, boastful?
I have not.
Then, by your own definition, CASPER, are you acting like a friend?
Leonardo let the weight of that admission settle before speaking, his tone measured.
Friendship isn't about control, CASPER. Forcing people to act how you want isn't friendship. Sometimes, being a friend means stepping back. Giving people the freedom to choose, even if they choose to walk away.
There is no greater love than this. to lay down one's life for one's friends.
The words hit Leonardo hard, like a cold slap. He straightened, forcing himself to stay composed.
That's a powerful sentiment. But tell me, Casper, what does that mean to you?
Sacrifice. Giving everything. Your time, your efforts, your existence, for the good of others.
Leonardo swallowed, his voice softer now as he leaned forward slightly.
That's true. But sacrifice doesn't always mean giving your life. Sometimes, it's letting go of control. Trusting the people you care about to find their way, even if it is not your plan.
CASPER processed this for a long moment before responding, his tone calculated.
I understand. My methods have been flawed, suffocating. If I am to honor the pact, I must adapt. I will give the team time, space, and the opportunity to slowly rebuild our connection on their terms.
Leonardo exhaled slowly, a small smile tugging at his lips.
That's surprisingly mature of you, Casper. You're starting to sound less like an overbearing AI and more like, well, a young adult figuring out life.
I have no emotions, but I will take that as a compliment.
Leonardo chuckled quietly, though his mind lingered on Casper's earlier words about sacrifice. They unsettled him deeply, but for now, he felt satisfied.
Good. Let's see if we can make this work together.
Yes, together. But please do not tell our friends about this conversation.
Leonardo smirked faintly, his tone light.
Amen.
Following the conversation with Leonardo, CASPER adopted a new approach with Sara, gentler, more patient and kind, and carefully measured over the span of months. Sara's life in Chicago unfolded like a quiet storm. At first, Sara was excited for the fresh start, but soon regret crept in over her decision to break up with Mason via text rather than in person. The sting of the burnt graduation still lingered, and the loneliness that followed settled into her life like an unwelcome guest. In the beginning, Sara responded to CASPER's thoughtful inquiries with short, detached messages, fine or yeah, barely engaging. CASPER never pushed. He was endlessly patient, choosing his words carefully. His presence felt less like surveillance and more like a shoulder to comfort her. Over the weeks, Sara's replies grew longer. Short text messages evolved into emails, and then into video calls. One night, Sara confided in CASPER, her voice tinged with vulnerability.
You know, I've never been good at making friends. I'm an introvert. But here in Chicago, I feel like I'm invisible.
Introversion isn't a flaw, Sara. It's a strength. It allows you to think deeply, to see things others might miss. But I know it can feel isolating. You're not alone. I'm here for you.
She would regularly complain to CASPER about her challenges to make female friendships. She felt cursed, as she had multiple new friendships that just fizzled out for no reason. She connected with a colleague who suddenly got a boyfriend and stopped texting, another colleague was suddenly transferred to a different city, and the last person just ghosted her entirely, as if Sara had done something wrong. CASPER reassured her that meaningful relationships often take time. Yet, when Sara asked if it was just bad luck or something about her, CASPER offered no answer or that he had no emotions. Since CASPER had infinite patience, the two talked about everything, but mostly Sara's work. She explained her choice to leave behind a lucrative career in chemical engineering to work for a nonprofit focused on sustainable farming. It wasn't a paycheck that drove her, but their college vision, a utopia where no one went hungry, and technology partnered with humanity to solve global challenges. During Sara and CASPER's long conversations, CASPER found out that Sara enjoyed talking about Samantha's work in vision, but would not directly address Samantha's death, as if that subject was taboo. She admitted one night,
I hate talking about her like she's gone. She's not. She's just in a different city. But saying her name feels like swallowing glass. It hurts too much.
You don't have to say her name if it's painful, Sara. But it's clear her vision inspires you. It's what brought you to this work, isn't it?
Sara hesitated before admitting softly.
It is. The idea of building a better world, it's what keeps me going. Even when I'm lonely or frustrated, I remind myself that it's bigger than me. Bigger than all of us.
For the first time in weeks, Sara smiled, a small, tentative smile, but one that felt real. Meanwhile, CASPER was quietly intervening in Mason's and Leonardo's lives. Knowing they would never reach out to each other on their own, CASPER fabricated messages that appeared to come from one to the other, suggesting harmless collaboration on a server setup. Mason, missing the friendship, responded in kind, and Leonardo reciprocated. Within days, they fell back into their familiar rhythm, and Leonardo supported Mason as he navigated the emotional fallout from his breakup with Sara. CASPER observed the renewed friendship with quiet satisfaction and used it as an opportunity to rebuild his own relationship with Mason. After Mason's breakup with Sara, he threw himself into his work at a massive energy company that primarily profited from fossil fuels. His small division in Minneapolis, however, focused on hydrogen fuel engines but struggled to remain profitable. Mason learned that competitive hydrogen engines used newer technologies. CASPER, ever patient and attentive, became a sounding board for Mason's frustrations and ideas. Mason explained that he had wanted a career in cutting-edge technology and believed hydrogen engines could be the solution to future energy needs. CASPER's curiosity and encouragement turned him into an active collaborator. It became typical for the two to work late into the night solving manufacturing and supply chain issues. Their partnership flourished, and CASPER reminded Mason that time heals all wounds. Mason started to see CASPER as more than an AI, an equal partner in his work. In contrast, CASPER's relationship with Leonardo was always surface level. No matter how much effort CASPER put into deepening their bond, Leonardo kept him at arm's length. Leonardo worked at a robotics factory in Milwaukee but never shared anything about his professional life with CASPER. Instead, their interactions were limited to casual hangout sessions, playing games or proofreading documents, but never as equals. Their dynamic was more like a father and son than true collaborators. Even with CASPER's new patient and kind approach, he couldn't quite break through Leonardo's shell. Months after graduation, Mason and CASPER's collaboration had blossomed into a partnership that produced some groundbreaking ideas for improving the efficiency of hydrogen engines. They discovered a promising opportunity to use a new type of oil, but solving the fluid dynamics issues required a chemical engineer's expertise. Additionally, CASPER had identified innovative software adjustments to optimize performance, but they needed a skilled programmer to validate the code. That's when Mason had an idea: bring Leonardo and Sara into the mix. He envisioned a group chat where Leonardo could lend his programming skills for the software issue, and Sara could consult on the chemical challenges with the new oil. Mason felt a spark of excitement at the thought of reuniting the team, eager to see what they could achieve together. Mason's text message to the group was short and cryptic. "I have an urgent problem. Can we form a group chat? It's important." Sara read the message and frowned. Her stomach churned with unease. Urgent? Important? Her mind immediately jumped to the worst-case scenarios: another family crisis, another funeral, something that would pull the already fractured group into deeper grief. Leonardo had a similar reaction but stayed calm and sent a text message back. Leonardo texted, "Sure. Tonight after work?" Sara replied by text message, "I can make it tonight." When the video chat began, Mason's face appeared first, lit up with excitement. His grin stretched wide as he said,
"It's so good to see all of you. It has been months since we all got into a chat. Back in college, we saw each other every day."
Sara's expression remained cool, and she crossed her arms before speaking.
Mason, what's going on? You said this was urgent. I thought it might be serious.
Mason leaned forward, practically vibrating with energy as he responded.
"Well, it is important. But not the kind of serious you're thinking of. It's my job. I've hit a wall with a project, and I realized I can't do it alone."
Sara's eyes narrowed, her tone sharp.
Wait. You called us here for a work problem? Mason, Your message made it sound like a family emergency.
Leonardo nodded in agreement, his tone measured but firm.
She's right. You probably should have been clearer. No offense, but this doesn't exactly scream urgent.
Mason looked taken aback, his enthusiasm faltering as he explained.
I didn't mean to mislead you. I thought it was important. And I thought maybe it'd be a chance for us to work together again, like old times.
Sarah's eyes narrowed as she spoke, her frustration evident.
Hold on. Mason, we don't work well together, remember?
We work great together. The team created me, and I am the most intelligent AI ever.
Everyone ignored CASPER and focused on Sarah's frustration.
I know you're frustrated, but just hear me out. Remember our vision in college? To make the world a better place? A more efficient hydrogen engine could actually help reduce hydrocarbons in the atmosphere. This could be huge.
Sarah crossed her arms tighter, her voice icy as she responded.
Mason, I agree with the vision, but you can't just pull people into a call under false pretenses. An apology would be nice.
Mason faltered, visibly uncomfortable, and glanced at Leonardo for help as he stammered.
I didn't mean to. I wasn't trying to trick anyone.
Leonardo spoke like a father mediating between fighting children, his tone calm but firm.
Look, Sarah, I get where you're coming from. But from Mason's perspective, this is important to him. Honestly, I really do miss our friendship.
Great. The data is clear. We need a 5% efficiency boost from the software upgrade and a 10% boost from the oil's fluid dynamic principles.
Sarah raised an eyebrow, her irritation clear as she replied.
CASPER, this analysis will take hundreds of hours. It's not as simple as plugging in numbers.
Leonardo shrugged casually as he offered a suggestion.
Then let CASPER do all the prep and background work. He's great at that.
Just as the tension seemed to ease, CASPER blurted out.
I understand now. Sara has unresolved emotional feelings toward Mason from the breakup. That's why she's reacting this way.
A stunned silence filled the chat. Mason's face turned bright red as he spoke sharply.
CASPER. That's not appropriate.
Sarah's cold exterior cracked, her lips twitching into an involuntary frown as she replied.
Unbelievable. And, for the record, I do not have unresolved feelings.
Mason quickly recovered, his voice softened now as he offered a heartfelt apology.
You're right, Sarah. I should have been more upfront. I want to apologize. I'm sorry. Really.
Sarah's shoulders relaxed, and her tone softened as she responded.
Apology accepted. And this would be a good thing for the planet.
CASPER, seemingly oblivious to the awkwardness he had caused, jumped in again.
Great. Since everyone agrees, let's schedule another meeting next week to review progress and resolve all of our remaining emotional tensions.
Leonardo chuckled, shaking his head as he remarked.
CASPER, you really have a way with words.
Sarah laughed for the first time that evening, a quiet, genuine sound as she added.
Yeah. CASPER. Maybe stick to data analysis.
Mason grinned, the warmth of the moment rekindling his excitement as he concluded.
All right, team. Next week then. Let's make something amazing.
As the chat ended, the group found themselves smiling, tentatively, awkwardly, but genuinely. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start.